And we're back with another review. I played 4 games just for a couple of minutes each, just to give you guys a little uh, thought process and things on them. May do playthroughs on a couple of these. I'm not real sure how they're going to go. So, first of all, we played Astrofang Super Machine. It's a racing game. To me, it felt like a cross between Rad Racer and Road Blasters. Um, the game is a driving game, and at different parts you can pick which way you want to go on the road. You're trying to dodge cars and other obstacles. Of course, you hit those, but you have some missiles that you can use. The problem with the missiles is they're up on the directional pad, whereas the driving is left and right on the directional pad. I think they could have made it like the other button because, well, one of the buttons is gas and one of them is brake, but I think they should have made it something else. There are shops that you come across during the stages, and I don't really know how to get in the stores. I may do a playthrough of this game. I have found a stage select and an infinite fuel code for this game, so I may do a playthrough of it. I don't really particularly, and it's kind of short. I think there's only 6 stages in it. It's not a bad game, but I would rather play Rad Racer or Road Blasters, either one, instead of this. But like I said, that being said, I may do a playthrough of it. I had never heard of this game and had only played it maybe like a second time playing it on the screen there. The next one is Astro Robo Salsa. This kind of reminds me of Balloon Fight a little bit. You have a guy with a gun, and whichever direction you shoot the gun, you go the opposite direction. So if you're wanting to go up on the screen, you shoot the gun downwards, and it pushes you up the screen. There are balloons that you need to shoot down, and they have energy. I'm not really sure. The energy keeps you up in the air and things like that. And your goal, like it says on the game, is to eat up all the energy packs at a given stage or destroy them. You can get energy packs that go on to the next stage, but that's what you have to use the shooting. I didn't really like this game real good. I, again, would rather play Balloon Fight where I don't have to worry about grabbing energy to use a gun to shoot myself where I want to go. So, that's one of those things that, I know what they were going for, but they kind of failed pretty bad on, things of that nature. Now, if you want something that's kind of challenging, then this may be for you. It may be a thing that you might want to do. I don't know how to say the name of this next game, so I'm just going to try to say it as best as I can. It looks like Astyanax. I don't really know how to say it. It's a game it's spelled Astyanax. If anybody knows how to say it, please let me know because I am sure I am butchering it. You're a 16-year-old boy that's summoned. You have the same dreams every night, and you're summoned to the world of Rimina by a pixie or fairy, whatever she is, and you're supposed to save the princess of that world. That's who's been in your character's dreams, and you're supposed to save that princess from a wizard named Blackhorn. I had seen this game whenever I was little, but I was never able to rent it or to play it. All I could do was see different screenshots of it, and it looked like a good game. I have played it, and the game is very, very difficult. It's more difficult than a lot of other games I played. It's a platformer, in a way. Well, it's an action platformer. Got to the end of the first round and died against the boss, and got sent back to the beginning of the stage. I found a code for this one for infinite energy, to where the only thing that can hurt you is their magic spells. So we may try to do a playthrough of this with that code. Other than that, the game it's kind of a disappointment as to, you see games when you're younger and you think, oh, that game would be good, and I think that game would be good and everything, but you never really know until you actually play it. And this is one of those that you don't really know until you actually play it. The controls are not bad, but it's just all the stuff that comes on the screen at one time just makes the screen almost like a mess. And sometimes there's a lot of stuff going on, and it's really hard to for me to figure out what in the world is going on and what in the world I'm supposed to be doing. So, but I mean, for what it is, if you like action adventure platformers, I'm sure there's other ones that are way better than this. Like I said, I may do a playthrough of it. I'm sure it's not a bad game, but it's just not something that I would enjoy. Like I said, I'm going to do the playthrough probably of it, or I'm going to try to do a playthrough of it. So even though it's not something I enjoy, I still might try to do a playthrough of it. The last one is Athena. Athena is one of those weird games that it got ported from the arcade, and the Nintendo version is a little bit more lenient than the arcade version. The arcade version, as soon as you drop down, the enemy immediately comes at you. And I mean, they can kill you within just a matter of seconds. At least on here, you get a couple of minutes to get your bearings together. I would suggest, unless you are like a hardcore gamer, I would suggest playing this one on the Nintendo, because I can get further in it on the Nintendo than I can get at on the arcade versions. I tried both of those. I couldn't do those. What it says for the story is, Athena, the goddess of wisdom, has grown tired of her life within the castle and ventures into the fantasy world beyond the castle walls. Strange and fearsome creatures will attack you at every turn, but you will find weapons along the way: a ball and chain, a bow and arrow, and a mighty sword. You can also put on wings and take to the sky or become a mermaid to explore the ocean depths. I couldn't even get past the first area, which is the forest. You come across a lot of different weapons. I did find a code for the game, but it didn't seem to help too much. The code, it's not really even a code. It's the location of a suit of armor that's supposed to be one of the best suits of armor in the game. Didn't really help me too much. You go to the first small mushroom you come across on the ground, not the big one with the small one, but the very small one, and you'll duck on it, and you'll instantly have the gold armor. And maybe at some point I may try to play this, and I may try to figure out what to do and where to go, but it won't be anytime soon. This game, I think it is a good game, but I think the problem for me is I don't know where I'm going. And the problem with these 4 games is when you die, you start back at the beginning of the stage, world, wherever you're at. And you only get like one life, and that's it. I think on Astyanax you get 2 or 3. But you have to start back over. And that's a major problem. There's like no checkpoints or anything. So you're just kind of... I think you have a couple of lives on Athena. But like I said, it's just one of those things where they send you back to the start of the level. And that's... You want games to... I mean, I understand you want games to be a little bit challenging. And you want them to be, a little bit difficult. But in my opinion, the difficulty selection should be up to the player. If you play something like Mega Man 2, for example, there's normal and there's difficult. If you go through normal and you beat the game and then you decide, hey, I want to try difficult, then go for difficult at that point. Try it again. Go for difficult. If you don't want to do that, though, you shouldn't be forced into doing that. A few of these games do not even have an option for difficulty. It is just you play at the default difficulty at which we put you at. And like I said, that's not normally a bad thing. But sometimes, one good example is the Madden games. The Madden games have a couple of different levels of difficulty. If you play on rookie, the game is going to be more forgiving. You're going to be able to throw, to your passes better. You're going to be able to play the game, and it's going to be easier. Then if you feel confident enough in your abilities, you can put it up on Pro and the difficulty raises a little bit. And then, you go on up to Superstar and then Madden or however the difficulty goes. I think they've changed them over the years. But you go with the difficulty, and that's just how it goes. Now, we do have some gamers that they jump right into a game and they say, okay, I'm going to beat it on the hardest level. Well, that's good for you. That's fine. I have no problems with that. But the thing is, it's not going to be for everybody. It's not a one-size-fits-all thing. Jim, my cousin that sometimes streams on here, will play certain games. I like to start off and figure out, what do the buttons do? What does this do? What does that do? I like to start off that way, put it on easy, normal, and go through. Jim, if it's got a hard difficulty setting, he's more than likely going to just put it up on hard and just go at it. And that's his decision. I'm not going to say it's the right decision. I'm not going to say it's the wrong decision. Some people like to just turn it up as hard as it'll go and, let's go. Some of us, maybe like to kind of figure out what's going on. Sometimes you want to read the story that's along with the game. Or sometimes you just want a casual gameplay, and you don't want to just be slung right into it and and then you don't beat it or you don't see the end of it or something like that. Two really bad thoughts of this come to mind on the regular Nintendo, and if anybody's played them, they know what I'm talking about. Well, 3 games actually come to mind on the regular Nintendo, and that's Castlevania, Ghosts and Goblins, and Ninja Gaiden. All 3 great games. There is no difficulty selection in these games. Ninja Gaiden starts off first couple of levels. Battletoads is another one. Ninja Gaiden starts off kind of easy within the first couple of stages, and then after you get to about World 3 or 4, it starts getting a little bit more difficult. Ghosts and Goblins is difficult almost right off the bat. It's difficult. Like I said, Castlevania, first couple of them are not too bad. Maybe about the time you get to about the third or fourth area, you start running into a little bit of problem. And Battletoads, unless you know where the warps are, Turbo Tunnel is more so going to be your downfall in that game. But that's one of those where you start off. I think the first two stages are easy. I think it only gets hard after you get to the Turbo Tunnel where those are at, and then there's other stages that are along there that are easy and harder. I like to use the stage warp in the Turbo Tunnel. The stage warp that's there because it takes you to the snake pit, and I find that the snake pit is not a bad stage for me. I know a couple people have problems with it, but it's not a difficult stage for me. But other people may just want to go through the Turbo Tunnel and go that way, and just keep on going through the other stages. There's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, all four of these games, great games. Fantastic games. They are fantastic. They are classics. They are great. The difficulty spike, however, is something that it is just these games, their difficulty is just legendary. And like I said, had to beat Ninja Gaiden with the Game Genie. Had to beat Castlevania and Battletoads years later. Whenever I was able to either do rewinds on the games or make save states. And I beat Ghosts and Goblins the required 2 times. I did that years ago whenever I was a kid. I don't know that I can do it again. Like I said, I did it whenever I was a kid, but I don't know if I could do it again. It's something that I'm lucky to even go through and maybe even get to stage 3 or to stage 4. And like I said, the first big enemy that you fight is like a red devil at the beginning, and he is just, they're just not good. And then there's more of them as you go through. I mean, you can try to use the glitch to exploit them, but if you have to fight them, they're just it's just a pain. It's just one of those games that's just kind of rage inducing after a couple minutes, and you really gotta. It wouldn't make it so bad except for the rules of the game are 2 hits, you're dead. You have to have the shield to be able to fight the last boss. Otherwise, they send you back a couple of stages. And the stages are timed. And, there's not too many bad stuff in some of the stages, but when you have a timer that you're working against and enemies that you're working against and you can only get hit twice, that makes it a little bit more difficult than it really needs to be. So, but I understand, they were wanting gamers to, keep trying them. And these games are games that spawned sequels, and rightfully so, because like I said, they are classics in their own right. And, I'm sure there's people that find the Mario Brother games hard. 1, 2, and 3. I find 3 the easiest out of the bunch, but I'm sure there are people that find that one hard. So, and it doesn't have a difficulty selection screen on it either. So, But until next time, we will see you then.